People, welcome back to Global Happenings today. A lot has been going on when it has to do with southern part of the country producing the next president. But the shocking aspect of this whole thing is that there is an unseen war. We are hearing the drum of war, but we are not seeing the war itself. When it comes to the loyalist and his leader or his boss, talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu and VP Osinbanjo, and right now someone has spoken about that unseen or that sound of unseen issue of war that is strongly hitting our eardrums, that something very drastic must be done about it. Get to hear his recommendation. Do you think all of this is worth it, or should we think that Nigerians should be looking for someone who can lead us to a glory land? Let's look at the news in detail before we go into discuss. A renowned constitutional lawyer by name Dr. Kayode Ajulo has called on Yoruba stakeholders to hold a strategic meeting or conference in the interest of the Southwest and the betterment of the nation at large towards the 2023 presidential election. Ajulo made this call while reacting to recent political development in the region. He said a crisis that may serve as a clock in the wheels of the Southwest from producing the next president is looming if the internal clash of interest is not quickly and carefully managed by the Southwest stakeholders. He said it will be unfortunate for the Southwest to blow their chances of a lifetime to further reposition Nigeria towards the path of progress. The Mayogun Are Onakakamfo of Yoruba land stated that it is important for Yoruba stakeholders, irrespective of political and religious affiliations, to come together to discuss the future of the region. Ajulo Waskins philosophical stated that when history is asleep, it is memory that wakes it up. And when memory itself falls into a stupor, we invoke remembrance to kick it into active consciousness. It is exactly 60 years that Yoruba witnessed the ugly crisis between two great Yoruba illustrious sons on the altar of tussle for political leadership. The late Sage and former premier of the Western region, Chief Jeremiah Obafemi Awolowo, and one of his foremost followers, and the last premier of the Western region, Chief Samuel Ladoke Akintola, due to clash of interest. I can tell that the same scenario is gradually playing out between Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his foremost loyalist, Professor Yemi Osinbanjo. It is no news that these two men do not have unfriendly feelings towards each other, but a lot of their followers and lackeys have started throwing bricks of words across walls, and that is certainly an invitation to crisis. The former national secretary of the Labour Party, which said it will be bad for the region to experience the same crisis that rocked the Southwest political space in 1962, stressed that the opportunity of the region to produce the next president is clear and only internal crisis can abort it. The truth is, let S.L. Akintola, an orator, a preacher, a teacher at the Baptist Mission, the legal advisor of the defunct Action Group after the demise of Balogun Bode Thomas, was the star boy and the pan-Nigeria face of Chief Awolowo's group, and a lot of political pundits at that time and at present agreed that Akintola, being in a more favored position by Providence, could have seen more than his leader and same inform his stance at that time. By parity of reasons, one cannot deny the fact that Professor Osinbajo, an astute orator and inspiring harmony of brawn and brains, is the star boy and the most outstanding federal face of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Group. Unfortunately, Osinbajo has represented this government at different fora and definitely would have seen more than his leader. It is a big plus that he is part of the government at the apex level. Asiwaju has done well for his followers and people, and I personally acknowledge that. But I strongly believe that it will further glorify Asiwajo's leadership to support the Vice President Yemi Osinbajo as the next president of Nigeria. The civil rights activist noted that the same crisis also rocked both the northern and the eastern region of the country in the 60s between Sir Tafawa Balewa and Sir Amadu Bello and Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Dr. Michael Okpara, respectively. He said that the leaders of these two regions effectively handled the differences in the interests of their region and the nation at large. Thunder never strike the same place twice. Yoruba leaders must put their personal differences aside and hold a conference of Yoruba stakeholders involving President Olusegun Obasanjo, Alaafin of Oyo, Oni of Ife, Awujale of Ijebu, Alake of Egba, Iba, Gani Adams, Bishop Ogbonigi, Pa Ayo Adebanjo, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, Deji of Akure, Olugbon of Oke Igbon, Baba Bisi Akande, Professor Tunde Adeniran, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, Dr. Olusegun Mimiko, Prince Ola Bonsoye Oyinlola, present and past governors in Yoruba land and other stakeholders who have the Southwest interests at heart to discuss the way forward. Wow, quite interesting. But the shocking aspect of this whole thing is that the two parties have not aired their views against each other. Just like this writer did say, that they have not maintained any element of unfriendly attitude towards each other. But already we are seeing a lot of reactions coming from their, supporters, and most of them are talking down on each other. Some are talking about betrayal, while others are also talking about the issue of the young should go and the older should be at the bench to advise. But what seems not to be solvable is the fact that the two parties, though one has not declared, but the other said that it is his lifelong dream to become the president of Nigeria. In other words, it's a trophy that must be won at all costs. And I'm just wondering how his loyalists will stand on his way if this will not cause so much trouble, in the country. Unfortunately or fortunately, up till today, as we are talking, Osinbajo has not declared his intention that he wants to run for that position. You understand? He has not even said a single word about, oh, I'm going to run. The only thing we are seeing is that his support groups oftentimes comes up to say, anybody who says anything contrary, you see, his support group will come out and say, this is his position. He has not said he's not going and all of that. But right now, with the situation of things, they have been exchanging words so much. But guess what? Nigerians are not interested whether anybody, Osinbajo wants to go or the national leader of APC, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, wants to go. What Nigerians need at now, and what every of us who are part of this country are earnestly desiring to see, is a man who will at least return Nigeria back to the glorious days where it was well spoken of. We've never tasted of it, from inception of democracy, but we are earnestly longing to see ourselves go back to our farm without any cause of being fearful. Our women go to their farm without any trade of being taken advantage of. We want to see a situation whereby our roads will be very good enough for people to travel, bring goods in without any form of interruption. In other words, we are looking for one person who will bring about total hauling or rehauling of Nigerian system to a point where we will be sure that there is a better future, if not for us, but for our children who are forthcoming. The level of insurgency, the level of insecurity does not demand that some tribes should swear by their blood that they have to be the one to lead Nigeria. Because, in a situation that we have found our country today, it's not all about someone who comes from your own home state who, when he wants to go for presidency, say, yes, I must give him all the support. That's not what will solve the problem. We are looking for one who is capable mentally, physically, and otherwise. Age-wise, we know that so many people have already been disqualified age-wise, but you see them still bent on, pushing hard to ensure that happen. That's not what we are looking for. Someone who will, when he wins the presidency, will sit back and begin to fan himself, not caring about how the people are surviving and all of that. That's not the kind of people we need. At this point, Nigerians should shelve all those ideas and let's sit back and put everyone on a scale, and then we can now arrive at a conclusion. That's why I like to leave it. Go to our comment section. Let's interact. What's your viewpoint about what Dr. Ajulo has to say about the fracas or the crisis going on between the supporters of Tinubu and also that of Osinbajo? Let's interact in our comment section.